Encapsulated Minnie Mouse Acrylic Nail Art Tutorial by Hotpinkzebrapolish.
Hi guys, in today's video I'm going to be showing you a design that this little girl absolutely loved when I was wearing it, and I was wearing it for our vacation, so there will be a Melody Minutes of Melody meeting Minnie Mouse, and this design's all about Minnie Mouse. So it's got a Minnie Mouse little hand-painted nail decal that I made, as well as a Minnie Mouse bow and a huge rhinestone glitter bow, and some little Mickey Mouse shaped glitters that I placed in some of the nails and encapsulated. And if you guys are looking for any sort of glitter or glitter mixes, or like those bigger almost sequins type shapes, definitely check out the place where I got these, and I'll put a link to her eBay store in the description box below. Super easy to work with. I had such a great experience with her, and really reasonable. I used all these and then I went and I just placed another order for a whole bunch more stuff. So I hope you guys like this, and like I said, check her out. I also put a link to her Instagram in the description box below because she posts pictures of all the different glitter mixes that she makes. So really exciting, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!
I'm going to begin by sculpting a clear base for my nails. If you don't like to sculpt and you rather apply tips, this would basically just replace the step where you apply a tip to your nail. And so you'd want to fit the tip, glue it on, etc., shape it. But instead, I like to do it with sculpting, which I just think gives you a more personalized shape and a little bit more control over the final result. I'm going to apply that clear base all the way up to my cuticle area, making sure it is extremely thin. Then on my ring nail, I'm going to take a very shimmery, it's a shimmery pigment, and I mix that with some clear acrylic just to give a sheer base that's a little bit more interesting than just clear, and apply that in a super thin layer over the nail. Then on a silicone nail art mat, which as you can obviously see is a cuticle mat, I'm going to be drawing out the shape of my Minnie Mouse. So I'm just using acrylic paint. The one thing to bear in mind when you're doing this with acrylic paint is that it will not peel off, the final result won't peel off the paint in the final piece at the end. So whatever you do with acrylic paint is going to stay exactly where it'll stick to the gel polish, but if it's an outline and an extra part, you're going to have to do it again later with gel. So just keep that in the back of your mind. So I'm just basically sketching out the little shape of my Minnie Mouse. I started out with her head, at her bow, at her ears. I'm not going to worry about facial features yet. I'll add those later. Now I'm going to begin filling them in with gel polish. I started out with her face with a really creamy beige color, flash cured that. Then I'm going to fill in her ears with some black. And also with that black gel polish, I'm going to be filling in the sides of her face, like right down along her cheeks and her, right there. Same thing on the other side, then right between her eyes, or I guess right around her eyebrows, I suppose. And then I'm going to flash cure that, then fill in her bow with my first color of pink. So do that on both sides. And as you can see, I also have a larger bow that I'm working on next to this that is the same basic thing, but not her whole face, mainly just the bow. Then with a slightly darker shade of beige, I'm going to be doing some shading on her face, around her cheeks and her nose, kind of down the sides of her face on her chin, and then blending that out, adding a little bit of a highlight on her ears with a kind of a medium gray, doing a little bit of that highlighting there, just blending that out. Everything is very subtle for the highlights and the lowlights and the shading. You want to keep it very light and bright. And then on her bow, I'm taking a brighter shade of pink to add a little bit of a glow to the bow. And with black gel, I added her nose. Then with a darker brown, I'm going to start sketching in her facial features with, this is all gel polish, by the way. So I've got the little bits of her smile drawn in, and then I'm going to be doing little outlines for around her eyes. Just like that. So the great thing about doing all of this is that you can do this separately ahead of time. You don't have to worry about drawing everything on your nails, and this technique is also really good if you are planning on doing your right and your left hand and you're not very good with your opposite, your non-dominant hand. So if you want to do it, you can definitely do it almost like a nail sticker, and it works out really well. The other benefit of doing this is that you can have it just right in front of you. It is straight up and down. It's not sideways, or you're not painting something upside down. You don't have to deal with painting around a curve of a nail. So if any of those things are something that you struggle with, doing it separately like this and then applying it to the nail later is definitely a huge little help. So I've got a whole bunch of details going on my Minnie Mouse, a little highlight on her nose, some darker red in her mouth, fill in her eyes with white and then black, and all of that fantastic stuff. And then I'm going to add the white dots in her bow. So just take teeny tiny little brush and add the tiny dots on the bow, going over the whole thing, making sure that they are evenly spaced. And everything that you do on the little mini head, make sure that you also do on the bigger bow, especially, if it's involving the bow. Then add with little bits of black paint. You're going to want to touch up the details. If you're painting on top of the gel polish, it's fine, but just anything that isn't touched by gel is going to stick to the mat. So outlines like around the bow may not pick up unless you touch them up with black paint. So that's what I was getting at before, and you'll see in a moment what I mean. Add a little bit of pink on her cheeks, give her some eyelashes, make her look all nice and girly, just like so. And then when you are happy with it, you do want to cap this with some gel top coat, which I missed recording, but is definitely an important step. So top coat your little Minnie Mouse, then peel it right off the silicone mat. It should not peel off very difficult at all. And then place it on the nail. If there's any bits that you want to trim off that are a little bit too big for your nail, go ahead and do that now. Just makes it a little easier. Fit that on the nail and then take some nail glue and glue it down. And if you for me, I just went with my fingers, but if you want to place some like saran wrap or plastic wrap over it to hold it down, that way you won't get any glue on your fingertips. That may be a benefit if you're concerned about gluing yourself to your nail, which I'm not going to lie, I definitely did. I glued myself down a couple times. But just, make sure you get glue under all the different places, hold it down, just make sure it's really nice and secure. You want to eliminate as many air bubbles between the nail and that little nail decal that you made as possible. Then after it is on there well, then you can go ahead and encase the nail with a layer of clear acrylic. Make sure that you encapsulate the entire design, so all the way, the whole entire Minnie Mouse. As you're doing this, especially if when you're doing this, you don't want to make a design that it fills in the entire nail. So you don't want to make like the whole Minnie Mouse nail on this little decal because it isn't stretchy. So it doesn't stretch over the curves of the nail. I hope that makes sense. So you want to try to, do only the parts that you need to with the decal. So now on the pinky, I'm going to begin making my little file to reveal dot pattern. So I placed down some pink acrylic over the bottom 2/3 of the nail. Then using a dotting tool dipped in clear acrylic, I'm going to be creating little holes in my pink, almost like I've got a mesh appearance on there. And then I'm going to fill in the rest of the nail with more of that pink acrylic, gorgeous color pink acrylic. It's got a beautiful little shimmer to it. And then finish my little dot pattern. So everywhere that you use the dotting tool to create the dots, that's where the white acrylic will be, and that's where all of your little dots will be. So just bear that in mind that you're creating your final result at this moment. And then fill in that pattern with white acrylic. Really press that white acrylic into the design. You don't just want to float it over the top because chances are you'll end up with some air bubbles, and that is something we definitely want to avoid. That weakens the nail in general, and it just won't give you as clean a result. So just use fairly wet white acrylic, and it's hard to tell in the video, but you really do press it into the design. After that white acrylic has set up, go ahead and use a file, an e-file I would recommend using, and just file this to reveal that wonderful little dot pattern. It is so much fun doing these file to reveal designs because you don't really, you don't know your end result until you're finished with it, and it's such a cool little thing to do. And then I'm going to be encasing the nail with a layer of clear acrylic. After it was filed, it was fairly thin, and so I didn't think it was, didn't have an apex in it or anything else. So you want to make sure that you add just a little bit more to it to strengthen it up a tad. And that's it for that one. So now for my index nail, I'm going to be creating a reverse French. So I'm going to start by sculpting my nail bed with a cover pink acrylic and forming my smile line at the same time. Just like so. I don't sculpt French very often, and certainly not on myself, so my smile line wasn't quite as crisp as I would like to be from the get-go. So I'm going to take a nail file and just file the smile line a little bit to really sharpen it and clean it up a little bit. And then taking that same gorgeous pink color that I was using before, I'm going to be filling in the tip of the nail, very, very thin layer of that pink acrylic. I wanted it to have a little Mickey Mouse shaped glitter in it, so I wanted to leave plenty of space for that glitter to be without interfering with the filing later. So make sure that that pink stays fairly thin so that you don't have to worry about it getting too thick or messing up your glitter. Then I'm going to place that little black Mickey Mouse glitter in there right in the center, and then cover the tip, encapsulate the tip with a layer of clear acrylic. You don't have to worry about encapsulating the entire nail. That nail bed area is plenty thick, plenty strong, so you don't have to deal with adding acrylic over the entire nail or clear acrylic over the entire nail. It's not necessary. And then you can leave that one just like so. From the middle nail, I'm going to be creating a nude fade with the pink acrylic. So I'm going to do first just that pink acrylic, applying it right where my natural nail ends, and then brushing that up towards the cuticle, and then filling in the rest of the tip with that really pretty pink. This pink color was actually the basis of this design. I was like, I don't know what all I'm doing on my nails. I'm pretty sure it'll be Minnie Mouse, but I've got to use this pink color. That was the way my mind was working. And then taking a cover paint, the same one that you used for the French of the nail prior, you're going to want to finish off your gradient by applying that right where that other color ends and brushing it down, going all the way up to the cuticle, tucking that around your cuticle area, and then brushing that down again to create such a nice, gorgeous fade from one color to the next. And then I'm going to protect my pink color with a little bit of clear acrylic encapsulating the tip. Since that pink color does have a shimmer to it, you want to make sure that you do kind of protect it so that it doesn't get scratchy looking when you go to file the nail. On the thumbnail, I'm going to begin with a milky white color just so that there's a little bit more of a base color on there and you don't see my natural nail, which is something I try to do. Oh, wow, I don't really like my natural nail showing too much, but I'm going to apply that milky white color, very classy, very on-trend color right now, over the entire nail. A fairly thin coat, so as you can see my natural nail a little bit through it, but that's not a big deal. Just kind of mask it slightly. And then I'm going to take the same shimmery mix that I used on my ring nail, and I'm going to be applying a thin layer of that over this thumbnail just to give it a nice little glitzy glamour appearance. This is Minnie Mouse. This is all about sparkles and bows. So then, because it is all about bows, I'm going to take that other Minnie Mouse bow that I made before when I made my Minnie Mouse, and I'm going to be attaching that to the corner of my nail. I'm going to trim it a little bit so it fits a little bit better. Take some nail glue, slather my nail with nail glue, and then I'm going to be pressing down that Minnie Mouse, holding it in place, making sure I tuck in as many of the sides as I can, filling it in on the other side. So as you can see on this bow, a couple of the outlines, especially around the top area of the bow, got a little bit messed up. So that's what I was talking about with the paint before. And then I'm going to be filing it just to clean up the edges, filling in the tip of her head with some of the same beige color of gel that I used for her face, just to fill in that corner, fixing up any outlines, finishing up her ear with black gel polish, curing that, and then I'm going to encapsulate the nail with a layer of clear acrylic. Same thing, you really need to make sure you fully encapsulate over the top of your gel decal so that it protects it, especially when you go to file. You'll notice that if you file through the clear acrylic, obviously you're going to be filing into your decal, and you may end up kind of erasing some of the work that you did, so you just have to be very cautious that that base layer underneath the gel decal is super thin so that there's plenty of room for a clear cap on top of it. So now with my e-file, I'm going to start out with a cone-shaped bit and clean up the cuticle area on each of the nails, just going through and smoothing that down, blending it out, and then taking a slightly larger barrel bit and going over the rest of the nail just to clean it up, smooth it out, make sure that it is just about flawless, going over that on each nail. And then I'm going to be applying gel top coat on each nail. It's going to be glossy gel top coat on everything but the middle finger. On the middle finger, I will be using matte, and you'll see why in just a moment. Can I just say, guys, I am so in love with that ombre on my middle nail that it was like the best thing ever. I just kept looking at it because it was so pretty. And then I'm going to take some glossy gel top coat, and I'm going to go over and add polka dots over that middle finger just to give it a little bit more of a Minnie Mouse essence to it with the polka dots. Going over it like so, curing that once again, and then I'm going to be attaching a large rhinestone bow with clear acrylic to the cuticle area of the nail, just like that, which does cover up some of that wonderful gradient, and I went back and forth whether or not it was worth it to me, but then I was like, I love this bow so much, I can't leave it there. I have to use this. So there it is. I absolutely loved this design. I loved wearing it. I had it on for approximately 2 weeks, and the bows lasted really well, so I was happy with that. And I was able to just pop them off with the cuticle nippers at the end, and I saved them, so I'll get to use them again. Yay! And I had so much fun on our trip, so I've got a couple moments from our trip that I'm going to share with you right now in a Melody Minutes.
Melody, can you give her a kiss? Oh, so cute.
Yeah.
She's right behind you.
Give me your fork.
Hey, do you think Mickey wants kisses?
Melody, right here. Melody.
Yeah, good, more good smiles. Come on, more good smiles. Yay! Oh, you got kisses? Oh, nice.
Can you give Mickey a hug?
Oh.
Melody was so starstruck when she got to meet all of them. It was just so much fun to see. I hope you guys like this design as much as I do, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!